Hello, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. I am Threepwood007, joined by Sir Waltham, and we're looking at the Church of xQc versus Big Oof Energy tonight.
Certainly, these are two teams that have made it, and we are now, we are going to quarterfinals here, and very excited for it.
Oh yeah, Big Oof Energy and Church of xQc had to make their way through action to make it here tonight. But before we get started here today, Sir Waltham has a glorious interview for you.
Yes, I am here with the owner of Team xQc Paralysis, or I'm sorry, Big Oof Energy Paralysis.
Yeah.
Say hello to the people.
Hi there.
Now, Paralysis, you are the team owner, as I mentioned. However, if we were talking a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that you were the only non-NA player on the team as well.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm actually in the EU.
That's right. For those of you who did not catch the accent, Paralysis playing out of the EU right now, and I gotta admire your ping if you're able to play, an NA tourney in EU from EU.
Yeah, luckily it caps around 40 to 50, so I'm pretty lucky in that way.
Fantastic. Now, with that being said, I'll just go ahead and get right into it. Big Oof Energy been performing so far very well. 2-0 in both of your games so far, with one draw, I think, in the last stage. However, what was you guys' purpose for kind of getting into the tournament and being here with us this month?
Well, to be honest, we were quite a new team, and we just decided that to get a bit more practice in and get a few games going, like joining the tournament, would be much better than just practicing scrims and just doing static comp. And when it was advertised to us, we sort of just leapt at the opportunity, and we're really happy that we did go with it.
Well, you guys have certainly been getting some very positive results from such a spontaneous decision. Has this tournament given you guys any kind of idea on what you might need to work on moving forward?
Yes, definitely. We've been doing a couple strats in our games in between the tournaments to prepare ourselves for the actual next match in the tournament, and we figured out that we're terrible at those strats. So that was a big insight for us, and we figured out what people can play and people can't play. So in that respect, if we didn't play the tournament, we wouldn't have figured that out at all. So yeah, it was really good for us, actually.
Yeah, well, certainly it seems like knowing your teammates is a good way for the team to just build better cohesion. Now, is there any match coming up, or perhaps anything in this match that you're aware that you're really going to have to work on avoiding or fixing, besides the team comms or the team?
So we did we have been just kind of winning on the standard 2-2-2 comp, but we've seen xQc, Church of xQc rather, in play in the other tournaments matches, and we've seen how they've reacted to that. So we know it's not going to be a very easy game for us or anything like that. So we have come up with a little bit of a strategy to maybe deal with things when they pull out their best game. So hopefully we're ready for it.
Absolutely, and I won't ask for any spoilers because I personally kind of want to see that as it unfurls into the game. But with that, we're going to be going to Hanamura very shortly. But Paralysis, thank you very much for sticking around and answer a few questions for us.
Yep, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely, and good luck out there.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Threepwood, we're going to be going on to Hanamura to start, it looks like. What do you think about the map so far?
Big Oof Energy is going to be coming out on offense with the Church of xQc on that defense, and that's going to be interesting. Church of xQc, I would call them the underdogs in this particular situation. Their team is going to be coming in at a lower average SR, so they are going to have to throw out some really interesting strategies and be on the top of their game to make competition for Big Oof Energy as they set the pace on Hanamura.
Absolutely, and we are going to see it take us there in just a quick moment, as we have this about 40 seconds of everybody not being able to select a character, but also kind of being able to select a character, wait time in between. For those of you at home, we're going to have Big Oof Energy, I believe, in the red on the right side. Up there, just the Big Oof red, the Church of xQc blue, You can remember the xQc Dallas Fuel Blue if that helps you. But for the time being, those are going to be our colors. And yeah, I'm really anxious to see. I'm anticipating a little bit of Zarya Ryan. What about you, Threep?
So, one of the things that I love to see on Hanamura, and that we saw in the 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time match of the Overwatch Watchers Brawl, in case anyone was tuning in, was some Mei. And on the defense, I love seeing the Mei. And oh look, there it is. Turtles on the Mei. And I really hope they stay on the Mei, because the one thing I love about playing Reinhardt is having a nice big ice wall into which to slam the enemy Reinhardt, who is moving through my choke point. How dare he?
Absolutely. It looks like if their composition right now is anything to go off of, Big Oof Energy going to be using that Just Bobby on the sim to try to mitigate that Mei. Obviously, being able to teleport everybody through a wall makes the wall pretty much irrelevant.
And now it looks like the Church of xQc is going to be setting up with a triple support and Mei being their sole DPS. This is going to be a very interesting variant that we're going to be looking at. Meanwhile, Big Oof Energy going for a somewhat interesting Symmetra-based comp with the Viagra Panda on the Widowmaker. Let's see what compositions they can roll with. Oh, and there it is. Teleporter goes all the way into the back line. Big anti-nade comes in, though. No healing for you, and they get completely separated and discombobulated, and the kills are going to start coming in for Church of xQc.
Absolutely, and as we saw there, it looked like Paralysis getting a little bit separated from the team, especially after Just Bobby had died. There was no one really there to back them up. The rest of the team was on the point, and Paralysis looking a little bit stuck in the middle ground.
I'm proud of the Church of xQc for being able to react to that Symmetra teleporting strategy so quickly. They are, however, going to be trying it once again. The Mei wall comes in. It comes in a little prematurely. The teleporter is going to get set up, and that's going to be everyone getting through this time. This time, they've gone. Big Oof Energy has gone for the top left. A lot of the individuals aren't going to get in, but they are past the choke, and now it's anyone's game.
Yeah, this is a little bit smarter positioning. You want to be able to have the Widow take the high ground and really utilize those angles, which it looks like they're going to try to do. And with the rest of the team taking high ground, it's going to be a lot harder for the defenders to contest that.
Oof, and that's going to be a nasty kill, but the main tank down, so no out. A big shatter comes in! That would possibly be what they needed, but the kills, again, very equal, and now a Mei ult has been dropped onto the point. That's going to be a D-Mech on the Chia, and Just Baba doing some serious work on the Symmetra, making sure that that defense matrix doesn't get any going. And now it's going to be Turtles, and it's a 2v1, but it's Mei who can totally win it, but she doesn't! That's going to be for, wow, Big Oof Energy manages to take it, and the spawn advantage is so clearly stacked.
Yeah, the one thing that you can look forward to if you're the Church of xQc right now is that they did have to use Paralysis' Earth Shatter. They won't have that going in, as opposed to Sayrus, who will have it. However, they also did have to use Turtle's Mei ult, but when you switch to a Hanzo, it's not going to be that impactful of a lost ult.
Right, the snowball potential is lost, but they are going to try and go for a nasty push. Viagra Panda picks off the Lucio with a well-placed shot before the Symmetra wall could come up. Townsend will kill him as a result, and Zarya is going to die to a Diva Bomb. It's a pretty even matchup on the point. No tick yet for the Big Oof Energy, but they are still racking up the kills, and despite the spawn advantage, we may start seeing some interesting play now. Saber's coming back onto the point. He's going to prevent them, but they have a tick. So this is huge, and big ult comes in now. Nano on Paralysis. Massive Reinhardt power coming in.
Absolutely. And one thing that is worth taking note here, Just Bobby on that sim, able to get set up on point, able to throw down turrets, and that's going to divide attention between the now defending team, who is really kind of in a pressurized spot here.
Oof, barriers get applied, and Church of xQc is doing a great job of stalling. After that first tick to 45%, they have not given up a single dot extra. They are contesting perfectly, and it might be in the best interest of, it's not sure, should they pull out, should they go back in? It looks like they're choosing to fight, and this is going to be a nasty brawl.
Absolutely, the Nano Boost going to be coming out onto Sayrus. And one thing worth noting is that Just Bobby, at the beginning and at the end of that fight, had that Symmetra wall up both times, so really building some ult charge on that sim, but it's looking like it's not going to be beneficial enough for them to want to keep it.
Yep. Just Baba has switched over to the Hanzo, probably trying to leverage some of that Dragon Ball combination. Gods, I don't think we're going to see that graph come out for a while. Just Baba's probably going to try and get to build up to his dragons as quickly as possible. In the meantime, they have a Shatter Nano coming out, and Viagra Panda takes the Widow duel with a single headshot, solidifying their dominance. Maybe we'll see if they win some more. Bam! There they get the other sniper on the team, and Paralysis goes charging into Sayrus. That's going to be massive damage, and again, they have their Shatter ready to go, as it looks like Church of xQc switches to a dive, but it's too late. Grav now comes out. It's not going to stop anyone, but they're going to get the point anyways. They can't get back in.
Absolutely. Just Bobby's pick not seeming like it's too crucial in either way, but with Viagra Panda not giving them really any openings to take any kills either way, with I believe 3 kills before the team even pushed fully on the point.
Yeah, eliminating the enemy Widowmaker and also dropping the Ana, a humongous source of healing, means that Church of SQC, despite their incredible spawn advantage, is going to be a bit crippled in that Hanamura defense. Big Oof Energy made excellent use of that opening. They took the point. Naria, how do you do? There may have been some ults thrown out, but no really major plays, just excellent tactics.
Absolutely. And one thing I did notice from the big Oof Energy was that they had 2 snipers in the back, but the Ana was on the high ground while Widow was on the bridge in the lower ground, meaning that that both of them can't be dove at the same time. And it really enables one to kind of help the other. The Ana's getting dove. She can, use some of her defensive kit, sleep a tank, and set the Widow up for a very nice shot and prevent that pestilence from coming through on the Widow. Or if the Widow gets dove, then the Ana can just stay far away and heal.
Saris's Winston was definitely crippled just by that simple positioning trick. And Overwatch teams hate it that you know it, but now we're going to see Big Oof Energy setting up on the defense, while Church of XQC gets to mount their offense, and it looks like they might be going with a very nicely composed dive.
Absolutely. Dive a little bit less common in this map due to the giant gaping gate choke point that we see. But, high ground was how Big Oof Energy was able to initially take this point. So if Church of XQC is able to get that high ground, maybe the same will apply to them.
Just Baba on the Mei means that they are going for a very similar strategy, but Viagra Panda showing a very dominant Widow. They're going to be setting up. Let's see what comes out first. They're taking shots. Oh, and Ant Ant wins the first Widow duel with an excellent headshot, showing that they are not out of the game just yet. Just Baba not picking up that the tanks have dove into the top left, into that little pagoda area. Saris is jumping onto the point immediately for a dive. This is not necessarily how we'd want this to go. However, that's 2 kills for Church of XQC, so that shows what I know.
Absolutely, and one thing worth noting, Viagra Panda actually got the first shot onto Ant Skips, bringing them down to about 10 health. However, just a little too undercharged for the Widow kills to go through. However, as the fight breaks out now, it's going back and forth here.
Yeah, big old brawl going on the point. Mei gets anti-nated. She's gonna die. Turtles on the Genji, demonstrating some sick proficiency with that particular Shimada brother. But again, Big Oof Energy refuses to go down. They have a decent presence on the point, but Addo with a huge boop on 2 tanks! Oh my goodness!
Absolutely, that was some superior positioning from Adeline, realizing when you have that advantage, and with that, it's just going to all be stalled. But it's worth noting that Church of XQC hasn't gotten literally any progress on the point thanks to the rotation of these heroes from Big Oof Energy. They just had, as soon as somebody got soon as somebody got weak, they would have somebody come back on the point.
So I love Viagra Panda getting Viagra Panda getting a nice little double kill there. But Just Baba jumps on the point to make that time a little longer. Big Oof Energy is still going to have to put on a hold now for a whole 5 minutes, or 6 minutes, that's right, they changed the rules. 6 minutes and 20 seconds to get below to their 407, though they only have to a little bit. Let's see the snowball potential here, which is pretty huge with a Nanoblade.
Absolutely, Just Bobby perhaps going onto that Mei and diving onto point just to buy a little bit more ult percentage on that Blizzard. It's going to really zone out the point.
Sights up now for the Big Oof Energy. That is going to result in Viagra Panda winning the Widow duel, which is just pretty much a guarantee. Saris gets Mei walled out. They're going to jump their way out, but they are going to they are going to survive thanks to timely intervention from Chia, making excellent use of that defense matrix to keep Mei from eliminating Saris, who got very low there for a minute. But we are going to be seeing an ult apocalypse from the Church of XQC.
Absolutely, however, with Turtles going down, not really going to be able to capitalize. However, I do anticipate we might be wanting to keep an eye out for the Nano Blade.
Yeah, it's a shame. One of your primary DPS is going to be the one that falls first to Viagra Panda, who, despite the sights, is from Antsibs, is going to make sure that that's not going to be the case. So they're going to have to wait for Turtles. The fact that they haven't dived in without Turtles indicates they're definitely looking to initiate with that Nano Blade potential. And they are going to be going up the right side. And Winston, the Saris, he's going to be starting it off.
Absolutely, and we want to keep an eye out for Just Bobby. If the Genji goes through here and gets separated, it's going to be crucial. And gets slapped massive!
He's going to pick up the Ana. Chia gets the Diva Bomb on the gods. Kills now coming in massively for the Church of XQC, with only Italis on the point now, though, to defend. That means that's going to be even more kills, and now Church of xQc is starting to rack up despite the major spawn advantage. No spawn changes coming out except Soarin' away, going onto the Moira for a little more sustain.
Ooh, and perhaps a misfire out of the hammer down, the Earth Shatter from Paralysis, who will, however, be getting the Primal Rage out of Saris.
Just Baba switching over to a hamster at possibly just the right time, catching up some sick rally armor, which now has a reduced duration, by the way, no longer infinite. Ansibs picks up Viagra Panda with a headshot, who switched over to the Tracer to possibly deal some more damage. They are going to stop it. That's it. They have more time now officially on the clock than the Church of xQc, and a full hold is still possible.
The real player there, I believe, was just Bobby on the Mei, popped down that Blizzard, so some members of the attacking team got frozen before they could make a mad rush to point and have the full team 6 or 5, however many were still alive at that point, on point. And it really kind of prevented their push from being as powerful and impactful as it could have been.
Definitely. Viagra Panda also initiating a little bit of that headshot action, making sure that a 6v5 is just what the doctor ordered. However, Ant pops over that sights. Viagra Panda is going to have a little bit of a difficulty getting off a nice sick headshot again, but they're also going to miss their hook. That's going to be down to bad positioning. If only Church of xQc knew, they would be perfectly primed. Sticking with that dive now, however, they have another Nanoblade ready to go, and that can be the tick they need.
Absolutely, and Church of xQc actually should know. They did have the infra sights at the moment that Viagra Panda fell. However, Ansib's still going to be getting the wind taken out of their sails.
Yeah, Ant has been falling headshot after headshot to Viagra Panda. It's difficult to tell who is the better Widow, because Ant has been doing some incredible work, but in terms of the dueling, Viagra has just been knocking it back and really making it very difficult for the... Oh, and there it is, Ant has switched over to Ashe. With that Bob, though, that could be a great point winner.
Absolutely, it will take a little bit to work up that ult. However, Paralysis and company getting very aggressive in this choke, holding a little bit more forward than we might generally see.
Oof, and there it is.
Coming out.
Big Nines, Big Shatter coming in. Boom, wham, bam, thank you, man. Chia gets demexed. Ansibs is going to pick up Paralysis for their sins with a nice little sick headshot. But Viagra Panda is going to murder Surls. Italis goes down. Winston making advantage of that Primal Rage. Then he pops it and he's going. This could be Church of xQc's opening.
Indeed, and it doesn't look like, with the exception of Turtles, going to be much stagger coming out for the defensive side. But Paralysis able to recover for a little bit.
Ooh, Paralysis was getting really low there. Really good timely healing is going to bring them back up to stuff. And with 2 minutes remaining, that's a push with a lot of ults committed from Church of xQc that's not going to get any progress to that final tick.
Absolutely, and Soarin' away really picking the right character here for that situation. The Ana healing may have been greater in number for individual target. However, with that massive healing and such a bursty comp, Moira being able to spread that damage all across the place, and Turtles, I don't know what was going on there. But being able to spread that healing is really crucial.
Possibly a retreat or a reset, or just they need to change that hero. Also want to call attention to Just Baba sticking out on that Hammond, building up 2 mines once again. What started as a stall has now turned into a very disruptive hero for Church of xQc to run into.
Absolutely, and with these tight corridors, if you throw a Hammond into the enemy team, especially when they don't have a McCree, they don't have a Sombra, and they don't have a Brig, there's so little that can stop him. They don't have anything except maybe a Lucio boot that can really even slow him down.
And here he goes slamming in, getting some of that ult charge. He's almost going to get halved, but he's going to survive. But someone's backcapping! Unbelievable! Savers, what are you doing, you absolute madman? Here comes the Diva Bomb. Boom! Not going to get any kills, but Paralysis Shield is going to go huge down. Coalescence jumping onto the point with the mines, but now a Bob. Huge. Turtles is going to pick a Viagra Panda with a tree trunk arrow to the head. Just Bob it, however. The mines, they're going to defeat the Bob. Never saw that old combo coming.
Absolutely. The hammer down having to be used to deal with the Bob, but in the end it was kind of essential. It might prove to be a little bit fruitless, as they're now only going to be 1-to-1 ult ratio for both teams here.
With Primal Rage and Dragons coming out for Church of xQc, they absolutely have their work cut out for them coming into Gods' Grav. Sights also coming in. This could be pretty nasty, as Diva's Defense Matrix has a little... Just Baba misses his spammer! He's out of the fight! The Dragons has come in, and that's going to be no kills, but God, no! There it is! Big Oof Energy picking up major kills. That's going to be major man advantage down. Their spawn advantage is huge. Ant is going to pick up Paralysis, who can't seem to get away from Ant's sights. The Church of xQc's push is defeated. Overtime has been enacted, and Big Oof Energy will take Hanamura.
Absolutely. And worth noting that Brigitte player On the side of Big Oof Energy, played by Italis, going to be a sort of off tank, really just while the Winston was primal raging, just using that shield, using the bash, using the whip shot to really impose space and kind of keep the defending team where they needed them to be at that situation.
And we're going to see Addle's incredible boop once again, who picked up not only the 2 tanks and also did some great disruption work letting them take that point.
Yeah, when you're playing Lucio, environmental kills are perhaps some of the flashiest things you can do, even though you don't actually see the player die. It's a little...
oh, yeah.
With that being said, it's going to be the Church of xQc picking next map. 3-point, what do you think their best options are here?
Viagra Panda showed some pretty solid dominance on the Widowmaker. I enjoyed the duels between Ant, but even they acknowledged that the Widow duels had to end and they had to switch off to a different hero. They need to go to, and yep, there it is. In the chat, we are seeing Ant acknowledging Viagra's incredible power, but I think it would be beneficial to pick a non-sniper friendly map. Anything in the pool that doesn't suggest that is going to be huge. That being said, King's Row, I know, is in the pool. Lijiang Tower might be a solid option, also Ilios, assuming they don't get Ruins.
Yeah, I think that if they get Ruins, it's almost certainly going to be 50-50 on if they can get the rest of the maps kind of under their belt. Unless they have some hidden plan or some kind of counter comp specifically for Ruins.
Right, and it looks like, however, they have chosen King's Row, which means they must have some kind of a plan or ability to take care of Viagra Panda's power. Now, that's of course assuming Big Oof Energy is going to run a King's Row strat that we've seen time and time again, which is that classic double snipers.
Absolutely, and it was a couple games ago, I can't recall the teams, but we saw a Hammond being run on this map with some incredible efficiency earlier. I believe it was like mines up every fight, and I'm always, ever since that, I do have faith that King's Row can be run with many different comps and not just the standard Reinzar.
Yeah, a punchy Hammond running in with that Winston is just ridiculous. Big Oof Energy is going to elect to take the initiative once again on King's Row, starting on the attack. A rare choice for a team which generally wants to start on defense so that they have statistically a higher chance of winning. But given Big Oof Energy's, how do I say this, aggression, I think it stands to reason that they have a good shot of taking King's Row to the end.
Absolutely, and we talked about before how this picking whether you attack or defend can be a mind game all in itself, most notably with the double attack point, but even still with hybrid, you can set a pace, and that can be either good or bad for your team's morale depending on how you perform the match. But if you think you're going to set a pretty good time, then attacking's probably the way to go to do a little bit of the mind games with your opponent.
Yeah, slamming that full map completion with time remaining down your defender's throat, so to speak, can be a little bit of a choking hazard, as then they will be coming out thinking, oh geez, we definitely have to finish this map. Plus, then the new defenders get to say, wow, all we have to do is hold at any one of these points. We literally have 3 chances to win this map outright. So it definitely sets that pace, sends the message. It's not my personal preference. I'd like starting on defense. So we'll see how the Church of xQc handles being on defense. And it looks like they are going to set up a grudge match. Ant back on the Widowmaker, but Turtles on the Junkrat. An excellent Goats counter.
Absolutely. And I've never really realized it until the last couple of games, but we have been seeing an incredible amount of Zarya Hanzo. At least if the attacking team's composition is anything to believe, Gods on that Zarya. Hanzo on that, or just Bobby on that Hanzo, excuse me.
We see a lot of memery coming out from the offensive team's spawn, which is very offensive. But this composition actually looks pretty legitimate, and with that double sniper with the Lucio, I think this might be what we're seeing.
Absolutely, and it just reminds me of the meta we had about 2 or 3 weeks before Goats Comp became really popular.
Wow, what an incredible sonic arrow. Perfectly landing a shot on everyone who is there. They are going to get the Hulk, and now, however, Big Oof Energy is almost going to take a tick without any... They get a tick with no resistance whatsoever from Church of xQc. The anti-nades are now coming in, and Ansivs is one who's going to pick up just Bobby. Typically, that fight goes the other way, with Hanzo being a pretty good counter to Widowmaker. And now, however, Viagra Panda is going to demech Chia uncontested, however, by Ansibs, who's now going to, but Turtles, oh, and here we go, boom! Ansibs with a headshot, claps back. You are not the dominant Widow on this map, Viagra, and that's going to be one tick push for Big Oof Energy.
And we could really kind of see the logic behind giving up a tick. They gave up the tick when they were set up on that far left high ground. So they rotated right, made sure to make it as difficult for the snipers to stack up on them as possible, and then dropped onto the point and fought basically a tank and support battle against, well, 2 tanks and 2 supports because the snipers were effectively having their teeth pulled.
The glory of the D.Va Orisa is having Orisa be that anchor, with D.Va having incredible mobility. But here we're seeing Big Oof Energy going right again. They do not get more percent. Ant picks up Viagra with the headshot once again. The mentality has been established. Ant is back. Viagra stock is down. No pun intended. Don't take that as possible. But a grab goes out. There's no combo with it. Just Baba didn't have their dragons, and there's no one else there on the high ground to handle it. Barriers comes out possibly a little postly, but God's really doing some solid work with their high charge.
Absolutely, and this is a situation where we do not want to see the attacking team throwing good money after bad. A lot of ults are going off back and forth here, and both teams need to be very conscious about how this is going to affect the next couple of fights going forward.
Huge tire comes out that is going to pick up Ana, but the spawn advantage is so massive for Big Oof Energy, they could possibly afford, but Turtles, with an incredible remote mine, detonates a tank and a support in one fell swoop, and then picks up the Zarya for good measure.
Absolutely, Diamond Bolt also getting a shout out for getting the anti-nade on those 2 tanks to be cleaned up by Turtles. Some solid cohesion there.
Yep. And God's now looking at a 60% grav charge. Just Babe possibly going to be holding that Dragons. Viagra's going to pop those sites early, but we all know where they are. They're setting up at that high ground that's been so effective for them. Here comes the push once again. D.Va rotating to the point as necessary, but every time Big Oof Energy steps on the point, they get a little more progress. And Viagra Panda goes crazy! Finally, they beat Ansibs in the duel, picking up the Lucio as well with well-timed headshots, and Nano Boost goes on to Sayrus on the Orisa. D.Va Bomb going up into the sky. Let's see who they pick. No one. It's not going to happen. And Viagra then picks up Turtles. Massive source of damage gone. Now Big Oof Energy is ready, and this point is all but theirs.
Absolutely. That was some impressive play. Sarah's trying their best to hold point. However, that charge from the Rhine just perhaps going to overwhelm them. Even though the D.Va Bomb did not pick up anything, they attempted to use it as zone, and it didn't quite pan out. You'd think they'd like to have that one back.
Extremely impressed by Church of xQc's hold there. They definitely made it so that they are not out of the game yet. The snowball potential, however, interesting. We have a shatter coming out from Paralysis, and Turtles has that. Oh, and there we go. Ansib switching over to the Zarya for that triple tank, purest of almost goats. With Turtles saving that tire, you know that's going to be a nasty ult.
Yeah, if they really want to take this for the long game, Turtles comboing with that grab, really going to be impactful. And as we see the tire come out, see what it gets.
I like Chia following the D.Va, and they are going to pick up Viagra, a very valuable source of damage. I'd like Chia following the tire with that defense matrix. Big shatter! Unbelievable power from Paralysis, literally paralyzing every member of the Church of xQc who was on the field. That's a team kill. Onward to point B.
Absolutely, and Church of xQc right now really did not get that full of a hold onto the streets phase. They got one that was kind of halfway in between the straightaway, but usually you like to see the archway or right before the checkpoint, but it looks like they're not going to really get either of those fights.
Yeah, that was almost as fast as a King's Row push can be onto point B through the streets. Paralysis gets that nice little nano. They're already at another shatter. That's the kind of crud you want to see. Sayrus' shield goes down. Massive shatter comes out. Here comes the Dragons. It gets eaten. Chia with the defense matrix. Perfect timing. And the anti-nade comes out. This is Church of xQc's big chance to come back out swinging.
Absolutely. A little bit layering of the support ultimates. Generally not what you'd like to see. However, as Paralysis gets knocked into the pit, brutal.
Not before Turtles also gets eliminated by Gods, but I always like to see that last-minute vengeance kill. Chia hiding up there, all with that D.Va Bomb in the ready. Not sure what they're planning on doing. The Reinhardt is out, and they're gonna get D-Mag before they can get it out. The Grab comes in though, and that's gonna be some kills. Boom! They're gonna get it. Brilliant combination. Almost last minute, a little slapdash, but that's what you want to see for that final push.
And the crucial part there was them getting Paralysis so early. They knew that there were 5 people on cart, but they didn't have their main tank to really provide any shielding. And Chia setting up very, very far back to kind of in that upper alcove to get that D.Va Bomb, where they couldn't shield anything aside from maybe a bubble from Zarya.
So an interesting ult from Just Baba, not sure what they were going for there, but possibly they're not going to have dragons at all, and they definitely weren't switching, so here we are. That's going to be a really rough push now for the Big Oof Energy, who are building up to some incredible ults, but they're coming to Severus' Shatter, which comes out. They are going to get the tanks, but no one's going to die. Instead, Big Oof Energy, with an incredible anti-nade, is going to hit all the shield holders, and bam, 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 bam. They are on a massive rampage.
Indeed, Big Oof Energy perhaps playing it very close to the chest. Paralysis kind of, it seemed like almost letting Saris get past the shield to get that hammer, or get that Earth Shatter down. And Just Bobby really leveraging that angle for that Dragon Strike.
Yeah, making sure that D.Va can't get a hold of that one. Also, she gets D-Mech. Here comes the grab with the 3 remaining members of the Church of xQc. Zarya's gonna get charged away. She gets massive hit down to Nut, and that's gonna be no one left on the point to keep it from the Church from losing the full map.
Absolutely. Overall, some pretty solid play. I think that, I believe it was Chia on that high ground. A lot of times when we see those divas take that high ground, it gives them a better overlook. And awareness with diva can be one of the most crucial tools you have, especially when it comes to being able to eat ultimates, being able to peel for your team, knowing when to dive onto low HP targets. So I think that was really good positioning. I'd like to give Chia some credit for that.
Yeah, that was excellent. And again, being able to be in that position multiple times throughout the defense of just, okay, I have this ult, or maybe I have this positioning. How can I use this to my maximum advantage? They did it, they pulled it off, and honestly, they held Big Oof Energy to a full completion, but with a minute 34 left, which as far as Kings Row goes, definitely far from the fastest. They have a very solid shot at making a good contest on this map.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit more even, at least in terms of Big Oof's push, than it was at Hanamura, with Big Oof having, I can't remember, was it just upwards of 4 minutes left on the clock?
Yeah.
So it's certainly manageable for the Church of some of our favorite toxic streamers.
However, the Church of xQc is going to be pulling out the literal original goats with the Moira, assuming this is a correct composition. We're not sure what Diamond Bolt is going to end up being on, but the Moira with that area healing potential is truly, truly horrific. But on the Big Oof Energy side, we're going to see not only double relative snipers, but double hit scan DPS.
Absolutely. I think they may be in preparation for a Pharah here, or just the classic Kings Row double sniper also pretty likely.
Unfortunately, without an area of effective damage dealer, they're going to be caught off guard by this Goats, and here they come. Boom! Here comes the Church of xQc. They're going to get slept. He's going to come in, but there's no damage to get through those shields, and Goats is just so blanking powerful. The Dynamite's going to go down, and there's just not enough damage.
Absolutely. Turtle's actually doing Paralysis a little bit of a favor and not allowing them to deep dive behind the enemy team. Sarah's going to be cleaning up Paralysis, though, so it will not be a long-lived favor.
Yep, and there it is. Main tank for Big Oof Energy is down. Fire Panda picks up a kill, but this is going to be all Church of xQc's jam. Goats without any DPS counter to it is just too unstoppable. And as good as Viagra and Just Baba are, they're not going to be able to stop this tide.
Absolutely. Looks like Soaring Away doing their best to keep Gods up, getting a full nano off the back of it. Paralysis being careful not to push too hard or too deep into the point, and now they will get, massive stun.
Oh, and Just Bob is going to throw out the Bob nice and early to keep Church of xQc in their spawn just a tad. Gonna pick up massive kills, huge stagger, and with over 5 minutes to work with, they're gonna need it. And of course, now we see Viagra Panda on a Pharah. Let's see how their projectile does.
Yeah, and ult build overall is looking much better for Big Oof, or at least ult usage is, with them having 3 online. And Viagra Panda, after just switching, already having 2/3 of their ult online. Rather potent stuff.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a barrage coming out very quickly. I see Gods with that grab. We all know what's coming from this one. D.Va taking a top left. Here comes the bomb. Can Pharah get to safety? No! Chia gets Viagra Panda before they can get up into that top grab. Grab's going to come out, but there's nothing to combo with it. And there it is. The barriers comes out. No kills for Big Oof Energy. Church of xQc is in session.
Yeah, ult's going to come out from, or support ult's rather, going to be coming out from both sides. And despite the ult bank that Big Oof Energy had, they just were not able to really make it work for them. Sarah's almost getting knocked out by Paralysis, going to be kept up from the sound barrier as soon as that pin hits, getting healed up as well, I'm sure, from the Turtle's flail aura. So overall some solid crisis aversion from Church of XQC.
Definitely, and God's tossing that Graph out is a huge miss. Now that Barrage is there, now granted, Viagra Panda can probably build up their Barrage way faster than the Graph can. They're gonna get a big shatter in the backline though, and that's gonna be the chance. Boom! Here comes the Graph, but it's gonna get eaten entirely by Chia. Well done, and Adol picks up the kill. Bob's gonna come out, but the Church of XQC has not adjourned. You are not free to go. There is no way the Church of XQC won't take point B, and with 3.66 meters and so many ults and kills, that's going to be theirs.
Yeah, and really crucial of, even if it did not net in a fight win, crucial of sorting a way to land that healing nade onto Paralysis, give them just a little bit more staying power. Every second counts when you're in these game modes.
Huge, and Just Baba now has switched onto a cheeky Bastion. This might be exactly the surprise that the Doctor order. I don't know if Church of XQC is going to be ready for this one. Bastion's barrier-breaking power is just ridiculous, second only to Reaper. But here we go. They're not going to be doing... Paralysis has set up the tank. They have the Pharah now, but what's going to happen? Here comes the Mercy to support them, but here comes a big Diva Bomb in the backline. Boom! Nothing's going to happen. Massive anti-lead. No healing for anyone, but Saber's picks up Paralysis. No main tank for Big Goof Energy as they're squarely on the defense. Just Baba falls. They're not going to have a shot. Church of XQC driving that payload all the way to the end with 4 minutes left. Massive improvement over their earlier performance.
Indeed, Italis, in fact, having to bring out that Valk. Ansibs and Saris both going to have the ults to really deal with these situations. Just Bobby on the emergency Doomfist.
Wow, we see the stall comp coming out. Paralysis actually charging off into Oblivion. Huge. Saris getting a massive charge on the point. Right now, it's up to Big Goof Energy to stall just as much as they can with a huge grab coming out. Maybe the kills could come in, but unfortunately nothing happens. Brigitte stops Paralysis' next charge at the last minute, and Church of XQC comes out swinging.
Yeah, Church of XQC definitely did a 180 in terms of performance. There was pretty much no point in this map where they seemed to struggle too difficultly. And with that being said, folks, we are now going to be seeing Team Big Oof Energy hopping onto the attack here. They do have only 1 minute and 34 to make as much progress either on that first point or on the payload as possible. That being said, Church of XQC having just over 2 minutes of time left, really going to give them the top spot here in this situation. And now, as we see the teams rolling out, Just Bobby going to be hopping onto that era, at least from the looks of it. They certainly seem to favor it on the defense. Although I do believe it was Viagra Panda on the Pharah, instead Just Bobby hopping onto that Bastion pick. And with the defense, it looks like we're going to be seeing another Orisa bunker comp coming out with Turtles on that Junkrat. Junkrat able to, of course, just build up so much ult charge, given the rain of grenades he's able to rain down upon the enemy team. Building up that tire so fast can really be crucial in getting those first few picks, or even a few picks in the mid-fight that can really tip the scales.
It's massive, and honestly, Church of XQC did an amazing job. I think Big Goof Energy has their work cut out for them.
They certainly will. Viagra Panda immediately going to be trying to take the fight with Ansibs.
And I like the Pharmacy coming out, the Widowmaker on Viagra once again, but they're running into that Diva Orisa. That's a hard sniper to roll into. But once again, Big Goof Energy sets up on the point immediately. This time, they're not... Church of XQC is not going to let them get a tick for free. They are going to contest as much as possible. And Paralysis looks like they already lost their shield. They're going to get eaten really quickly with only a minute left and the res coming in. That's a massive fight prolonging that isn't really going in anyone's favor. But there it is, Saris gets charged. Are they going to go down? No, they're gonna live, and they do manage to get a tick, but Big Goof Energy can't take the point.
Absolutely, and that was a little bit of an example of the classic three-step. You have the Diva go down, then as soon as they start getting low, fly up behind the Orisa bunker, then have the Orisa drop down, and then the Diva go back on when the Orisa starts taking too much heat.
Yeah, it's a really rough situation to be in, but here we go. Now some massive DPS coming in. But Viagra Panda loses the Widowmaker duel once again, and Ansibs picks them off with a headshot. Now they're taking more. Now, Big Goof Energy has taken more than a tick, so they can technically win this map. But Church of XQC just showing an incredible tenacity. Massive shatter comes in though. Chia doesn't get charged. They get out of it somehow. I didn't even see what happened. Paralysis anti-nated, that's it. Big Goof Energy's latest push resulting in nothing.
Yeah, Paralysis actually going to be getting hacked by Pharah mid-charge right before he hit the wall with Chia in tow.
And Gods can't get on the point with the Zarya, so that means Church of XQC holds them to a little more than a push, a tick. This could be the start of a best of 3 tiebreaker scenario.
Yeah, really, I think that it could have been played a little bit more cleanly. You think that there were plenty of opportunities for Big Oof Energy to kind of collect themselves, perhaps end the fight early, say, you know what, we still have 30 seconds on the clock, that's enough to recollect and go in for one more push, as opposed to just having this eternal 1.5 minute brawl on point.
As effective as Church of XQC's defense of King's Row is, you can assume if you are Big Oof Energy that they're going to be running the Diva Orisa again, and that means you have a couple fight-winning strategies you can run into that. You can run the Dragon Ball, you can run the Tire Grav. Basically, you have a fight-winning chance, and with such an enormous spawn advantage for the attackers on King Row Point A, it's not a difficult point to win, but as we've seen, when the defense is so effective like that, it's really a cruddy situation to be in.
It is, and it looks like the defending team in Big Oof will now be trying to run their own Orisa comp. However, Just Bobby going to be opting for that Bastion instead of the Junkrat. Bastion having that repair tool, really having a little bit more sustain as well as the damage reduction in that Sentry mode.
But Paralysis is late. They switched to a Junkrat, and then they went back to the Moira. They're not going to be there in time for this first push, despite their blinking ability. Just Baba is going to have to do some serious damage to stop them. And there it is. They get caught out. They're in the middle of the enemy team. They're not going to be able to survive. Brigitte tries to come to their aid, but it's not going to be enough. They are going to survive, but now Church of XQC has the presence on the point. They're going to start eliminating the individuals. Diva gets demoted. Brigitte's already out of the fight. Here it goes.
Yeah, Just Bobby really trying to play this tightly to the wall here. However, the Church of XQC playing smart, playing tucking in, making those angles as difficult for him to cut. However, God's going to be helping to clean up on point.
That was unbelievable. God's MVP for sure, generating almost 100% energy, making sure that they somehow pull that one off. And I can't believe Church of XQC didn't get a tick off of that.
Yeah, if they do get a tick, it's going to put them in a very rough, it's going to put the defenders in a very rough spot to have to do almost a perfect defense. They have about 13% ult differential there, or percentage differential there.
Uh-oh, Brigitte down on the low ground. Uh-oh, what are we looking at? We're seeing a bit of the elements of the Great Bamboozle here. Going straight for that high ground is Church of XQC. They're looking to go straight up, but a perfect rotation from Big Oof Energy means that they're nowhere to be found. And they're now setting up dually on point with the Orisa shit a little too far back, however, to do anything. Maybe not so perfect, but there it is. Ant is going to fall. That's one member down. Now it's a 5v6. Let's see if Big Oof can pull off any more picks here.
And Just Bobby playing this so smartly with Italis. As soon as they realize the rotation's going to be coming through, they drop down to behind Motel and really prevent that damage from coming through.
Oof, the Diva Bomb in the backline grabs the Orisa and the Bastion. Too big of a spawn advantage to overcome. The counter shatter comes out. It's not going to be booms. And wham! That's going to be a grab that results in no kills. Church of XQC is set up to win King's Row.
Absolutely. And the Diva Bomb that really helped to win that fight out was almost a comedy of errors. Italis had the shield positioned where you could have perhaps maneuvered around it, but they shot it a little too far forward, encapsulating both the Orisa and the Bastion within that Diva Bomb. And those are two players you do not want to lose in that situation.
Oh yeah, in terms of linchpin, game fight, winning, win condition situations, all the buzzwords you can think of despite the massive charge, the shadow that we're seeing coming out here from Paralysis. Losing the Bastion and the Orisa in that fight, guaranteed loss.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough spot, but now we are up 1-1. However, Big Oof Energy being the losers of that previous round are going to be picking the next map.
Oh yeah, and I'm not sure what they're going to come out with. King's Row probably was a surprise for them. I don't think they were expecting Church of XQC to come out swinging like they did. Definitely after winning that first match, maybe they thought they were safe, but Church of XQC proving just because you start, going up against that full map completion doesn't mean you're out of the fight yet.
Yeah, and King's Row kind of gives a little preview that I think that map and Well on Ilios are really the only ones where we reliably see an Orisa come out in most situations, and even the Orisa's most situations would be, holding that high ground on King's Row. So
Yeah.
it was something I don't think that Big Oof Energy necessarily could have seen coming, but I think it's going to it will make Ruins more interesting with Big Oof probably having sniper dominance and Church of xQc looking to have what seemed like some very strong Orisa play. You know, you figure Well goes to xQc, Ruins goes to maybe Big Oof, and really Lighthouse seems like it'd be the decider there.
Absolutely. However, seeing that we are, for some, Big Oof Energy going to Numbani, very interesting choice here. And Church of xQc is going to elect to defend first against Big Oof Energy's map choice, which means we are going to be seeing Big Oof Energy again having to take the initiative on attack on another hybrid map. Bold choice, given that King's Row went so poorly for them, despite their tenacious defenses and attacks.
Yeah, really excited to see Numbani. It's one of those maps that's kind of a hybrid between all worlds. You have the beginning, which is dive, because high ground is so vital in this map, and then from there, the high ground becomes less and less impactful. In fact, the third point, with the exception of one ledge, doesn't have that much high ground.
I have been a big fan of arguing that point B on Numbani is almost indefensible. I find it very, very difficult to mount a good defense here, and it's almost inevitable that the attacking team is going to take it just from the sheer advantage that they have. The bend that you see, excuse me, goodness, how rude. The bend that you see on Numbani is so much more open than King's Row. It's very, very difficult for the defenders to manage any kind of a choke. Really, in reality, there is no choke.
Yeah, the biggest advantage that defenders have on that streets phase is if they're able to wait until it's right at that last turn and really utilize those angles. And not only are they, able to utilize those angles a little bit more efficiently with the 2 turns, but if they are able to stop it there, then that's a huge walk back for the attacking team. And you know how in streets phase we love to talk about just the walk delay that comes out from the attackers.
Oh yeah. And it looks like, based on what we've just been discussing, that's going to be dives from both teams. Of course, Big Oof Energy is going to be dropping out that Viagra Panda once again on the Widowmaker, and we're going to see Hanzo now from Ansibs. That will be an interesting duel to watch.
I absolutely anticipate so. Turtles on this Genji. Really excited to see, well, both teams playing the Genji right now.
Turtles was demonstrably angry and very good with his Genji. I want to see if just Baba can demonstrate that same kind of proficiency, and it looks like they are generating that ult charge exactly as a Genji must.
And the most important person to keep on this high ground here for the defending team will be Diamond Bolt on that Ana. If that Ana loses that high ground, it really does cut off a lot of healing and battlefield maneuverability.
Oof, and it looks like Church of xQc once again almost letting the Big Oof Energy get a tick for free, and Viagra Panda going absolutely crazy despite getting doved by the Winston is going to pick up the kill and demech the Diva, but it looks like Church of xQc is going to hold on to their defense and prevent a tick from occurring.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case, and man, Big Oof Energy came so close to giving up that first tick. I think that it seems like Church of xQc might be trying to play a little bit more conservatively in terms of giving up point percentage than they did on King's Row.
Their dive ability against Big Oof Energy is definitely coming out into play. I mean, here we're going to see that now they're going for the high ground. God setting up. The shield is going to come out early. That means Big Oof Energy is going to be down a big barrier. And Church of xQc pretty much has free reign to do what they want, and that's going to be an immediate demech onto Sornaway. And Big Blade comes out, but where's the nano? It's not going to happen. Turtles immediately dashes through Just Bobby, eliminating him from the fight. That's an ult that's not going to happen. Look at that incredible ult stack from Church of xQc.
Yeah, Church of xQc going to be feeling very confident going into this fight, especially knowing that Just Bobby no longer has that Genji Blade to pair with Paralysis. It may be a little unclear to them if the tanks are going to have anything online. As we can see, they are very close. However, their position is going to be known by Viagra Panda's info sites.
And Viagra Panda is definitely a spooky widow, so we're going to see her Maybe we're going to see something tasty come out. Boom! There goes a headshot onto the Winston. That's not going to be enough to kill it. And they are going to stand still for just a tad too long, and that's going to be knocking them down a bit. They're not going to be able to find Lucio, and now we're going to see some little dive action coming in. A blade of their own is going to come out. There's going to be some blades. Kills from both teams coming out. One of them is going to be Turtles on the Ana. Huge problem. And Sibs on a DPS. That's a bit of a loss, but now Primal Rage is coming out. They're going to demech the D.Va, who has the blade ready to go. Addle's going to fall. No kills from the D.Va, but they are going to get their mech back. Now it's a fight on the point. That Big Oof Energy has a potential to win.
Yeah, Paralysis getting lost there at the beginning of the fight, kind of crucial in terms of losing that massive healing.
Here we go, Viagra Panda now strutting their stuff on the Widowmaker, despite the barriers coming out. Ansibs is going to pop. Damn, there we go. Viagra with headshot after headshot, really coming through, carrying the Big Oof Energy team to a point A win with roughly about a minute 55 seconds left.
And that is very impressive, especially considering I believe the early kills were not necessarily in favor. They lost, the defending team lost 1 damage for the main healer on the attacking team, and generally that's a hard comp to sustain in that situation.
Yeah, it's a really rough situation, but they did manage to pull it out. But they didn't do it with a lot of time left in the bank.
Yeah, they will be fighting a little bit uphill battle here. God's going to be taking this high ground, perhaps trying to utilize it and manipulate it to the best of their capabilities.
Yeah, and now we're going to see the Widowmaker on the Viagra. This is going to be a great situation. The big dragons come out! It's the zoning dragons, though. They pulled them off the point, nothing more. Turtles is going to try and capitalize on that, but Just Bob is actually going to murder Ant for the audacity to throw a dragons out like that. And that's going to be also murdering their Genji counterpart. The Ana is going to shut them down, but the damage has already been done. A little baby D.Va is going to be stopping the cart percentage at the moment, but this fight's going to pretty much be Big Oof Energy's pure victory.
Absolutely, and now we're starting to see the ults tip a little bit more in favor of Big Oof Energy. Of course, Turtles and Chi are going to have their ults up soon, but with Paralysis going online, that's going to be 4, almost 5 with Taluses in tow. Ults ready for the attacking team here.
Yep, and Church of xQc, it looks like they were almost trying to mount a defensive point B. That's not going to happen, though. With the barriers coming out now, Turtles is not going to be able to get any kills with that vicious Nanoblade. That's 2 massive ults that aren't going to make it out. And yeah, there he goes. He's murdering himself. That's going to be a full reset from the Church.
Absolutely, and the one thing you can claim is that you got the Lucio sound barrier out of the way.
No one can.
But still, that's 2 ults for the price of 1, and that's a risky trade-off.
Right. Viagra now with the sights. They're going to be seeing everything that the Church has to offer. Big D.Va Bomb goes out. That's going to be too high, too nasty, but they get Paralysis anyways. Great placement, possibly a little out of position. It doesn't matter ultimately because Paralysis is down, but the spawn advantage is now going to be pretty even for both teams, slightly favoring the Church.
Indeed, Italis going to be getting Ant Sims. In the end, doesn't look like it's going to matter too much. However, Saurus getting kind of called out here almost resulted in an advantage for the attacking team, but with that kill on the Gods, perhaps not.
And instead, the Church is actually able to turn that into a pretty good time stagger, as now Big Oof Energy really only has 2.5 minutes left to push this through to completion. That's roughly 4 fights. Viagra Panda, however, starting out with an Ana kill, that's massive. Ooh,
yeah.
But they get clapped back.
Indeed.
Perfect Nanoblade.
Yeah, as well, we go to see the Winston come out to help put the pressure down. The melees going through for Big Oof Energy right now are massive.
Oof. See, every time I think Big Oof Energy has this push in the bag, Church of xQc claps back with some really incredible ult placement and just good controls. Dragons is now going to come out on the cart. That's going to be a bit of a problem, as well as Turtles, after zoning them, is going to pick up Gods with a headshot. Big Oof Energy completely ousted from this push.
Yeah, Viagra Panda, in fact, going to be switching to the McCree. Specifically, I anticipate to deal with Ant Sibs, but also getting Turtles in the addition. Not going to hurt.
Yeah, Viagra Panda is switching off that Widowmaker onto a McCree. Deadeye is a nice resource, but also Mick right-click is nasty to deal with.
Yeah, it's definitely something that the defending team's now going to have to keep in mind, especially since Turtles is going to be on that Sombra.
Yep. And Just Baba has been hacked. We're going to see maybe they're going to make it out alive. Nope, they do get back in the... Big Shutter goes out. Just Baba is gone. Oh no, the D.Va Bomb comes out. It catches no one. And actually, Big Oof Energy is starting to pick it up. Slut kills and the big barriers comes out with a massive anti-nade. Big kills now. Big Oof Energy has eliminated what they need. They need to start putting on the pressure onto the spawn because, again, Church of XQC can mount great stalls, but they do it!
Yeah, that is some incredible movement from the Big Oof Energy team to really kind of get where they needed to go. And we saw the hack come onto the Winston player for Big Oof, but it just did not seem to matter. It came in, I believe, right after the jump pack, as well as the bubble had gone down. So most of those, the hack time is going to be occupied by just a cooldown ticking up anyway. So it's perhaps could have been placed to a better character, but in that situation, still, you're lucky to get what you did if you're big or if you're a Church of XQC.
Yep, I like the stall that came out. I like the switch to Sombra. Like Sir Weltham said, possibly could have been better applied, but holding the Big Oof Energy, which again, Church of XQC is definitively the SR underdog here, holding Big Oof Energy to a single minute of time on the clock left after completing Nubani, that's massive.
Very true. However, we're going to be seeing the next set of team comps come out here, and it's looking like more of the same. Viagra Panda going to be on the Widow this time as opposed to the, well, the Widow Hanzo as opposed to the Widow Genji, I believe it was, on their attack.
Yeah, just Baba switching over from the younger Shimada brother to the older Shimada brother. Wait, there it is, the Pharah. They're going to be dropping the Pharmacy with Viagra Panda on the McCree. Such an incredible anti-dive combo. I love it.
Yeah, and with the dive, they're not going to be having a whole lot of hit scans save for Diamond Bolt on the attacking side. It's going to make it really hard to manipulate Just Bobby out of the sky. They're really going to have to focus on the ground war here.
Right, and Turtles' Nano Blade, which will be inevitable, is going to be how Church of XQC leverages that ultimate combination is going to be massive and instrumental in their attack.
I definitely look forward to seeing how both these teams are going to play out at the time being.
So we're seeing some similar dive capabilities coming up. There it is, Just Bobby picked up Saris early, and the D-Mech as well. Viagra Panda's gonna pop off the Diva before they even have a chance to start generating remech potential. Really great shutdown from Big Oof Energy. Church of XQC has the work cut out for them.
Yeah, Just Bobby actually getting a hit onto Saris's Winston mid-air as they were dropping down, presumably to get a little bit of healing from Diamond Bolt, but it was just not soon enough.
Yeah. Turtles massively back, and Ansib's now switching over to the Widowmaker. They've got to take that Pharmacy out of the sky, but they're, again, with the angles that Pharah and Marcy can play here, that is not going to be an easy task. Plus the res, ugh.
Yeah, and with Ansib's being going to be playing so far back, it's going to put them at a very strong risk of being dove.
And a fantastic dive onto the Ana. They're going to get res, but that allows Ansibs with the Mercy distracted to get the kill into Just Bobby. But Viagra Panda and the rest of Big Oof Energy is going to make it so that Church of XQC can't establish a foothold despite eliminating a number of key heroes.
Yeah, and Just Bobby going to be able to get out relatively quickly with that concussion blast. God's obviously not the slowest character on that Winston to get back, but it's going to take some time.
Paralysis gets caught way out of position. Major dive coming in. They use their abuse, but the Vagabond is going to pick up the Turtles. Nano Boost comes in now onto the Diva instead, and wow, what an incredible Nano Boost it was. They're going to be able to eliminate both. Everyone doing the damage that they need to end this push.
Yeah, the kill onto Paralysis really doing a little bit of kiting there, using that central pillar area to kind of just rotate around the enemy team long enough to get the ult onto Soren away.
I super like seeing that. That potentially could have been a disastrous situation from Big Goof Energy, and I'm not sure if Church of XQC just wasn't able to capitalize or they didn't have maybe the ults to commit, but BOE was able to really recover nicely thanks to the performance of their DPS and heals.
Indeed, however, we are going to be seeing Antskibs stick onto this Widow, so we'll see how they utilize this leverage, this push around.
Winston bubbles are down. Thank God for that graphics patch that prevents us from seeing that epileptic seizure action. We're going to see a Diva Bomb come out. It's going to go up on the high ground. It's not going to get Juno. Instead, Diva's going to get killed as a result. They're going to get a point on the presence on the point, and the Winston Primal Rages will rage, but that's not going to result in anyone. Antips is going to pick up Just Bobby with a headshot, though. That's the one way to deal with the Pharmacy. Make sure the fire doesn't exist anymore, but the res now comes in perfectly timed. And Church of XQC can't seem to maintain a pick advantage.
Yeah, Saris perhaps playing that a little too aggressively, popping that Primal Rage and diving right onto point. That's not going to do much without the backing of your team, except give the enemy 1,000 points of damage in ult charge.
Yeah, Church of XQC, again, they seem to be missing that Je ne sais quoi, fight winning condition. Their dive is good, they're picking the heroes, but Big Oof Energy is continuously able to mount a defense.
Yeah, and speaking of win conditions here, I think that Turtles and Diamond Bolt really need to combo. Oh, not even gonna get the chance.
The Nano Blade comes in, but there it is! They get the Mercy, but not before they resurrect Just Bobby. This could be a huge advantage for Church of xQc, as the spawn length of time to get back is massive. Just Bobby, however, picks up Addle. There's just too many Big Move Energy stars on the field, and Turtles, despite the work that they're doing, can't eke them out from the point.
Absolutely, and it is lucky that Turtles did not get killed quite so quickly. However, Chia, not so lucky, as this is now going to be a little bit of a stagger game.
With 7 seconds left, Church of xQc now without one of their most prominent DPS players. The High Noon is on the point. Big kill gonna come out onto Addle. The stall is on, but Big Oof Energy is gonna take this map. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our winner.
Yeah, Big Oof Energies will be going on to those, I believe, semifinals for the winners bracket. But overall, some very impressive plays. I like seeing the different variations and strengths that both teams seem to possess, kind of each picking the other's, I guess, hidden energy or hidden strengths.
Yeah, we've seen Just Bobby here on the Genji play. Massive shout out to Turtles, who was doing some incredible work on the Genji. Again, Big Oof Energy, despite some incredible dives coming in from Church of xQc, was just not able, they were rather able, to finish their defense with a full hold on point A. Well played from both teams. And we're going to be interviewing Talus after the map.
Absolutely, certainly have to look forward to that and seeing what it was like kind of from a ground view of the fight itself. Obviously, we have that eye in the sky view, but really, it's different from when you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's a massive problem. So I believe we have our interviewee in the chat with us. Talus, how you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty good.
How did you feel coming into this match?
So at first, us as like a team, we were a bit kind of nonchalant about it. We watched their bracket game, or the game before this, I mean, and so we kind of knew what to expect. And then they ended up actually being a lot better than we thought. So we were actually pretty scared the second game. And then I don't know, third game we were like, all right, everybody shut up, clear comms, and like let's just do this.
So yeah, going into King's Row after after King's Row, going into that final map, what was the general consensus of the team?
The final map, we were just like, okay, I mean, we're not a team that practices goats a lot, so we saw their goats and they were doing pretty well. I personally, I chalked it up to there was a lot of miscommunication on team composition on King's Row. So third game, we picked Numbani because, I mean, it's probably like the least goats map out of all of them. And we both ran dive, and our dive just went better. So we won.
We saw that repeatedly again and again. It looked like every time Church of xQc almost mounted a perfect dive, you guys were able to come back and win it again. How do you feel the play between the support and the tanks went for your team?
So it's pretty interesting. Paralysis was our Ana that game because we all suck at Diva except for Soren, who's primarily our Ana. so we had to make a little bit of team composition change. But I think that for the most part everything went well. We called like what supports we wanted and what we wanted them to do before the round started, and then for the most part we just communicated really well.
It showed, definitely. Yeah, we were pretty impressed by the flexibility that was being demonstrated on Numbani. So collapse and well done there. So it looks like you're going to be going up against Maximize Gaming, who has been on a just utter destruction streak. What are your strategies? What are your thoughts going into that match? I
know that I personally haven't looked at them yet because I've been sort of like doing it by like a match by match case. So they're actually like the next team I was going to go back and watch their games and see if I could find anything. I'm not sure about the rest of the team. I can't really speak to that. We haven't really talked about that. We're sort of like, I guess we're still a little shocked that we're kind of just like, before this game at least, we were 2-0ing everyone, and this game with a 2-1 is pretty close. So I think it was really humbling in a way. It was sort of like an ego check, you know?
Good. No, that's definitely a good thing. You know, again, when you're winning too easily, sometimes you forget how difficult it is to get where you are. So I super identify with that. I don't win a lot. So well done there. Big Oof Energy, congratulations once again, Italis. Well played. Definitely deserving of where you guys are getting into the semifinals of the tournament.
Yeah, thanks for the tournament. It's pretty fun.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So this has been the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. We have one more game tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This has been 3.007. You can find me at 3.007 on Twitter and Twitch.
And I've been Sir Waltham. You can also catch me Twitter at Sir Waltham Gaming or Twitch Sir Waltham.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you at 10.
Have a great night and stay safe.